Hello there, all you wonderful people. I hope today finds you doing absolutely fabulous. Welcome back to the Pixie Art Show. And if you're just finding my channel, welcome, you fantastic person you. I hope you enjoy the video and stick around for some more fun stuff. If you haven't realized yet, I still have no idea how I want to do my openings, but we're getting there. I actually wasn't sure what this next video was going to be. I have a bunch of ideas for other videos. So many ideas just floating around in my head. But I figured since, I mentioned this story in my last video, and I already knew exactly how I wanted to draw it. This was basically just a redraw. I decided I would do the story of my sort of, but not really stalker from back in 2020. I know, that sounds really weird. Like, how exactly does someone have a stalker, but not really have a stalker? Well, stick around and I'll tell you. It's kind of a wild story. My life is basically a cartoon, or like one of those really bad daytime soap operas. Maybe Passions. Not as exciting. So, I'll first preface the story by saying that I walk everywhere. I don't have a driver's license. I did have a permit, but it's expired. And so obviously I just don't drive. I can't drive. Sometimes, but not really. And I don't mind walking everywhere. I might eventually learn to drive, but it's not really super important to me, So of course, in, walking all the time, I tend to walk to and from work pretty much every single day. Will rarely take the bus or a cab, like on occasion, but the weather's gotta be, that's usually if the weather is really, really bad, and it's gotta be pretty bad, because I don't like my routine being messed with, and we all know most public transport can't really be trusted to be on time, and I have to stop for coffee on my way to work, and if I take the bus, I just can't. It just doesn't, I don't get there on time. So, my walk to and from work typically takes about 40-ish minutes. I know it seems crazy to walk that distance every day. It's basically 2 hours of walking. And yeah, most people will give me weird looks, when I tell them about it. They're like, what is wrong with you? Why do you do that? But I enjoy the walk. And I have the entire routine worked out so I can stop for coffee on the way. 'Cause, as all of you coffee drinkers know, coffee before work is very important. So now that we have that out of the way, this story all starts with a hat. Yeah, a hat. So I came across this ad on Facebook. Well, actually, I just kept coming across it. It just kept popping up and popping up. And it was for this super cute modern witch hat. And I eventually decided that, hey, I wanted one. So I ordered one. I love hats of pretty much all kinds, like fancy hats, crazy hats, baseball hats. I actually have, if any of you know Asuka from Neon Genesis, there's a hat she has with cat ears. I have that hat, and I wear it all the time. And so, of course, I don't really care if a witch hat seems more like a Halloween prop. I'll still wear it all year round, which is what I had fully planned on doing when I bought it, but as will become quite clear from this story, I don't wear it as much anymore. I still love the hat, and I still break it out every once in a while, but not as often as I'd probably like to. It's super windy here too a lot, so that doesn't really help. The wind will take your hat, and you will just lose it. So anyway, the hat arrived in the mail around the end of September of 2020. Now, of course, by this time, I'd actually been back to work since around June. So I started wearing the hat on my walks. I knew I'd probably get some weird looks. I usually do anyway. But I've always had a strange sense of fashion, as you could probably tell, and I really didn't care and most people actually really liked the hat. Most places I went gave me great compliments on it, thought it was super cool. So anyway, I had been wearing the hat, for a couple of weeks when around the second week of October, I'd had a pretty rough day at work and was walking home fairly upset. I mean, lots of people have bad days at work, and I also cry very easily, like at the drop of a hat, no pun intended. And sometimes I just can't help it, even if I'm out in public. The tears will just flow like Niagara Falls. So, of course, I'm walking home trying not to cry, failing miserably, but that's besides the point. And I suddenly come across this little treasure chest trinket box in like the middle of the sidewalk, directly in my path. I stopped and picked it up and just kind of looked around, wondering if I'm going to see anybody, because, well, my first thought was that, someone had dropped it. And yeah, I could hear something rattling around in it. Actually, originally I thought it was, someone's stash box, and I just did not want to open it because I was worried that there was something, probably fairly illegal in it. And so there was this little stone fence next to the sidewalk where I was standing, and I just figured if someone had lost it, they'd come back to find it, so I just placed it on this fence. And then proceeded to just completely forget about the box. Just completely gone out of my mind, didn't even think about it. Until the next day at work. I don't know why. Like, I didn't even notice it as I was walking to work, but it just popped into my mind. And so I decided that if it was still on that fence on my way home, I'd open it. So, sure enough, when I got to the fence where I'd placed the box, it was still there, waiting. If only I had known. But, hindsight is 2020. So I open the box, and I see this note, and what looks to be some sort of like pendant on a chain. Upon reading the note, I knew right away that the box was for me. It was left there for me. The note said something along the lines of, "To the little red-hatted Wiccan, a TikTok cat is the perfect familiar." Now, I'm not Wiccan. I can understand where you would get that thought from the hat, but I did really enjoy the little clockwork cat pendant that was also in the box. It was super cute, and I did wear it a few times. So, of course, I put the box in my pocket and just continued walking home. This was actually, funny enough, it was a few days before my birthday. And, it felt like an early birthday present. Didn't really think anything more of it until about a month later. So then I come across the second treasure chest, and this was in November. Actually, almost exactly a month to the day as the last box. Now, I have bad days at work every so often. I mean, who doesn't? As I have mentioned in a previous video, I work in housekeeping, and it can be quite overwhelming. I'm the type, I can get overwhelmed fairly easily. I've been working on it, but you know how it is, right? But, like, I hadn't been upset enough to cry on the walk home in a while. Actually, I rarely ever do anymore. Ever since all this happened, I'm very aware of my facial expressions, which is a shame, but it's okay, it is what it is. But sure enough, I was walking home and came across another trinket box in my path. Except this time, it was much closer to home. I'd say about maybe 15 minutes from home for me, whereas the first gift was actually a lot farther away. It was about maybe 30 to 35 minutes away from home. So this gift was a lighter with a note that said something like, to keep your spark lit. I don't know, it has been absolute ages, so I can't really remember what the notes specifically said, except for one. no, two, sorry. I can remember two word for word, but that's beside the point. Um, I'll get to those in a minute. But, and I don't have any of these notes or gifts anymore, but that's fine. But yeah, so this kind of spooked both my boyfriend and I. I mean, this was so close to home. And I'd never seen anyone drop off either of these boxes. Like, I didn't see this happen. I just came across them. And so, of course, my boyfriend's all like, don't, don't pick up any more things off the sidewalk. Like, leave them where they are if you find them. Just leave them there. And I agreed, for the most part. But, you know, curiosity tends to get the better of you sometimes. And, of course, I came across another gift. This was actually just about a week or two later, and I was walking home and came across a yellow envelope left on the sidewalk. At this point, I'd completely stopped wearing my hat. I didn't want any more attention from it. I was done. And, of course, it was around December, and so it was dark now on my walks home. So the envelope had a red witch hat drawn on it, and it said, "To the little red-hatted Wiccan." Again, not Wiccan, but whatever. It was placed closer to where the original gift was left, so I didn't really think it was so bad. I don't know why, but that was my thought processes. And inside the envelope was this little handheld weapon, similar to like brass knuckles, but not really. You've probably seen like the little cat ones with the ears that stick up and are super, super sharp, and they got the eye holes where you put your fingers through. I think it was made of some sort of like rubber, hard rubber, and it was made to look like a black hound's head, similar to like the hound in the Hound of the Baskerville episode from the BBC's Sherlock. I thought it was super cool. Like, this thing is a really cool thing, though I am pretty sure that these are actually super illegal where I live. But anyway, so the note with this gift said, "If you insist on walking at night, at least have a hound of hell to protect you." And on the back of the envelope was written, "I do miss the hat." Now, I thought the note was fine, if a little bit weird, but my boyfriend thought it was incredibly threatening, especially the part that said, "If you insist on walking at night." To him, it sounded very sarcastic, I think, but he didn't actually say that until the next gift showed up, and it'll be pretty obvious why. But again, I thought it was fine. I mean, why would a stalker put a weapon in my hands to defend myself from them, right? I mean, like, if they're gonna try and kidnap me, I'd have this weapon to protect myself. Didn't really seem like a stalker thought process to me. So again, we didn't think it was all that bad after the weapon was given to me, and I figured, okay, cool, I'll start wearing the hat again. I mean, I thoroughly enjoy wearing it. I don't really want somebody to ruin this for me. That was until the next gift. It was this horrifying troll statue with cold, nightmare-inducing eyes. Like, super soul-sucking. Like, it was, ugh, no. It was like hyper-realistic looking. Imagine the troll dolls from like the 80s and 90s, the cute little ones with the super multicolored hair, except not cute in any way, shape, or form. Pretty sure it was a cursed item. And again, like, this thing was creepy and I hated it. But I still picked it up for some reason. And anyway, in its hand was a little crumpled up note that said, "I'm glad to see you wearing your hat again." Now, none of this would have been too bad. Like, I would have been okay with it. I probably wouldn't have kept it, but it wouldn't have been so bad had it not been sitting on the sidewalk on my street about 3 or 4 minutes from where I live. Like, this person now knows what street I live on. That's great. Didn't think to switch my routine up beforehand, though there's not really a better, different route that I can take to and from work. And at this point, I guess it didn't matter because now he knows where I live. Fantastic. It's also it's also um, weird because it had rained every night I got one of these gifts. Like every day I got a gift, it had rained pretty much all day. But these were all completely dry. Like they were placed just minutes before I got to them. So whoever this was following me, and or they just passed me and saw where I was and decided to place these items so that I would basically immediately get them. Like that is terrifying. Like why would you do that? But anyway, so of course at this point, this is when we called the police and made a report because this is getting weird. And I gotta say, the police responded to the whole thing very, very quickly. Like, they were really good about it. I mean, you hear about stalker stories all the time where the police are like, no, sorry, we can't really do anything until something happens. But no, they took it very seriously. They came out immediately that night. And we gave them all the gifts and all the notes. And I did eventually have to go in and give a full statement, which took, I think, about 2 hours. But the night before I went to the station, actually, the last gift was left. And it was an empty crystal head vodka bottle. You know, the ones that look like crystal skulls? I freaking love them. They're cool looking bottles. But inside, rolled up, was like this, what should have been a motivational note. But it just came across as really creepy to me. And a lot of work was put into making it look like an old piece of parchment. I can't remember what the note said. It's been ages, and that was actually a very long note. There was quite a bit to it. But I brought that into the police as well. And at this point, I'd started keeping track of all the license plates of the cars that passed me. Like, constantly. I remember there was one day I actually saw the same car pass by me like 4 or 5 different times. So anytime I got spooked like that, like I'd call my boyfriend and talk to him the rest of the way home so that he knew I was where I was and what was going on. It was not a fun time. Like I still sometimes take notes of license plates as they pass me. Like I don't like being hyper paranoid like that. But at the same time, hyper paranoia will keep you safe, so I guess. Silver linings? So funny enough, the police actually did find him, like, very quickly. And it turned out that this guy wasn't actually stalking me. He had seen me upset after work, didn't know I was on my way home after work, but he had seen me upset, saw me crying, and decided that leaving me a gift would probably cheer me up. And I mean, yeah, it did. And apparently he actually does this for a lot of people around this city, like holding doors open for them, giving out little gifts, especially during the pandemic, to, help cheer people up. It was a very stressful time, and I completely understand. I've never actually met him. I didn't ever see him, so I still have no clue who this gentleman was. And considering his intentions were innocent, I mean, I do feel a little bit bad about calling the police on him and making it kind of like a much bigger deal than it was, but he had me pretty freaked out. Like, I don't know why there were so many gifts left, though. I mean, it seems a bit much for one bad day. I don't know. It's one of those weird things that I guess will probably just never be explained. On the bright side, I haven't received any more gifts left for me on the road, and yeah, I'm okay with that. Like I said, it was a nice gesture, but I'd rather not have the thought that someone is watching me and following me home. Nobody wants that. So, that's the story of my sort of, but not really stalker. I know this video was, it wasn't really all that long. It seemed longer as I was writing it out. Yeah, because there was a lot to get out, but I won't, draw it out any longer. So, if you're still watching, thank you so much for sticking around till the end. I hope you enjoyed it, and if so, consider leaving a like and maybe even subscribing. And maybe even leave a comment if there's anything you'd like me to talk about or draw in the future. You can also follow me over on Instagram at ThatCrazyShortGirl and on Twitter at PixieArt. I should probably log in and check my Twitter. I haven't been on in a while. I also have a TikTok, though I don't have anything on there yet. I'm considering doing some maybe sketchbook videos over there. I'll probably link that in a future video when I actually start making videos over there. But yeah, so thank you again so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantabulous day. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye!